Hello and welcome to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950. I'm your host, Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
Before we intro who our guest is today, Joe's going to remind us of our show's purpose.
Our show's purpose is connecting people seeking service with organizations and people who do service. And how we do that is through the vehicle of Rotary. The show's obviously put on by Rotary, but we honor other service organizations as well.
And
all service is equal.
And we think that Rotary is the best vehicle,
We do.
But it's not the only vehicle.
But it's pretty sweet.
Yes.
And hopefully you get inspired.
That's right.
Our guest today is Bocar, who is a fellow Rotarian of ours, our club specifically, incoming president as well, but really specifically here to speak on Edine Rides. And so it was wonderful to hear a little bit more about that, and we hope you enjoy. I'm your host, Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Show off your Rotary Club spirit with Russell Hampton Company. They're the world's largest provider of licensed Rotary items. They make everything like hats, jackets, shirts, banners, and more. Russell Hampton Company is a 4th-generation family-owned and operated business founded in 1920 by a member of the first-ever Rotary Club in Chicago, Club Number 1. When you call Russell Hampton Company, you get more than just a company, you get a fellow Rotarian-owned business who's there to help. No matter if you're ordering for your entire club or just yourself, no order is too big or too small. Not sure what your club needs? Their team members can help and customize just about anything. They live by the Rotary 4-way test. They also give 10% of all purchases back to Rotary to support Rotary's global work. So remember, Russell Hampton Company is your one-stop shop for all things Rotary. Learn more at bestclubsupplies.com. That's bestclubsupplies.com. Russell Hampton Company, Rotarians serving Rotarians.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950. I'm your host, Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
Before we dive into our special guest today, who's in studio, Chad is going to remind us of our show's sponsorship.
We want to thank Russell Hampton Companies for sponsoring the show, the #1 printer of Rotary licensed gear in the world. If you're watching online, you can see some of the things they printed for us. You can check them out at russellhampton.com. And if you ever need printing outside of just Rotary gear, they can help you out there.
They'd love to.
Yep. And
so we want to welcome Bocar Kane. Welcome, Bocar. Happy to have you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Chad, and thanks, Joe.
We have a lot of ground to cover. I'm very excited about it. So, Bocar, first, let's share with our listeners. You're currently a part of Edina Morningside.
Correct.
And you are the incoming president for year 2024-2025. And let's start there. How are you feeling about this?
I am extremely excited, overwhelmed. But after this first ride, I think I'm even more excited.
With the Edine Rides, yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that a little bit
and I'll
more.
let you know the reason why.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
We'll dive into that because that is definitely one of the topics that we want to cover. But our listeners need an opportunity to get to know who is Bocar. So first, I do want to just share with them as a reminder that you're the founder, president, and chief executive officer of AMCA Safety.
We call that a solopreneur is what we call that.
That's true. Absolutely. That's where it started, right? That's where it started. You have to crawl before you run, right?
Do you have business cards for each one of the roles too that you could just hand?
No,
them
it's
to
just
the different role?
just two: the CEO and president. And the reason being, I figured, in funding something. I worked for corporate America for over 10 years, for large major companies. Went to University of Minnesota, graduated. Also did a stint overseas for 2 years in mining, oil and gas, mostly mining. And then when I came back, I said, okay, let me do something. I've learned a lot of different things. I said, being the president and CEO, you can really walk your vision and bring it to life if you find 100%. The right people.
How long ago did you found the company?
So AMCA was founded in 2016, December 2016. So basically, let's say 2017. That's when 16 is when we filed.
Okay.
Yeah. And then started learning the industry.
Is that like kind of like kids? You get like a tax credit for that entire year? That's what I was thinking. Like, brilliant!
I think so.
You got to pay taxes in that year.
Where did the name AMCA come from?
AMCA means have it. So if you abbreviate even my name, right, you put it together, it became have it. It's yours. So that's what it means.
Okay.
And it rang a bell to me, and I loved it. So that's why if you look at the hat, it says AMCA, and then you see the logo represent where it started, and then as you go, you change the country where it's in. So you see the red one for the U.S. or orange.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's
so
a good.
Nice.
That's deep, man.
It is. It's wonderful, and to have that perspective is always nice. It's interesting when you do a dive into like when individuals who have created businesses have their logos, the behind the scenes decision making for that.
Oh, there were a lot of back and forth trying to understand what it means, and even the colors. You look at them, blue for water, and it's just a lot of work goes into it.
Wonderful.
I don't know. I'm usually half a bottle in or something like that on creating a logo. Like 2 a.m.
Creative can happen anytime.
It can.
Whenever you're inspired. Well, tell us more. What is AMCA?
So really, AMCA is we are a small business. We started from the ground, from zero. First, we just tried to focus on safety. So whether it's PPE, and then it evolved to works on safety product, where we now manufacture our signs, anything that is out there on the road that is MUT CD compliant, which is the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, put out there by the federal government, then adopted and customized to Minnesota standard, DOT. Mm-hmm. We can make those signs. We can make all the street signs, all the road closure signs. So that's what AMCA does in one set, one area.
Yeah.
The second piece that we do is a lot of commercial graphics and wall graphics. You mentioned some big names at the beginning.
And we're talking.
Absolutely. So, but we are all of this in order to be self-sufficient. So we do commercial graphics, wall graphics, from little stickers that you saw to the big even signs and directional signs. And we also have an arm that does that we have extended in. As of last year, we do a lot. Well, we started Safe Route to School first, making every school zone improve it, working with the DOT, the city, the counties, consultant, to make these intersections safer for kids to cross, and just give you the idea of what can be done before you go to something permanent, where you spend a lot of money. And the other piece, we do also permanent work like road striping, pavement marking. We've done a lot of training for large organizations. We've done a lot of projects for ourselves for cities. So anything related to work zone safety we do, with the sign printing, with the manufacturing, pavement marking, because sometimes you have to recess and glue the thermoplastics. That's what we do mostly.
Okay.
It's super sexy.
Well, we had the honor and
But
the
necessary.
privilege to have behind the scenes walkthrough of your facilities, and that was pretty cool to get that perspective. So.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have everybody.
Well, you don't think about all of that stuff. Like when you see all the signs that get put up, redirecting you, making sure you don't cross certain areas, all of that stuff. Like, I mean, again, it doesn't seem, but it's so necessary, and there's so much of it.
So Bocar, you had been doing a lot of work in corporate America. You stated,
Correct.
and then you had some time overseas.
Yep.
And so was there a point during your I'm going to call it a stint, but it wasn't a stint. You worked in corporate America for many
Correct.
years.
Yep.
But during that time period of being in corporate America and then being overseas, was there a point in that process where it kind of like hit you like, a freight train where you're like, this isn't what I want to be doing. I want to do something. And so you can probably see where I'm going to lead to my next question.
Sure.
But was there kind of like a turning point for you where you're like, nah, this just isn't what I want to be doing anymore?
To be frank with you, is when I was in corporate America, I never thought of leaving corporate America, right?
Okay.
I was having so much fun learning. You have to remember, I came into this country to go to college. Didn't have any of these expertise when it comes to manufacturing. I had so much fun. But the need for me on this earth, I couldn't fix most of it working.
Okay.
It got solidified when I traveled overseas for 2 years.
Yeah.
For that stint for
Yeah.
2 years and came back. I said, I'm 100% sure a small business way is the best way to transform and do good.
Yeah. Very cool.
It is so cool. And so then when you came back from being overseas, was that truly like, was it almost like right when you came back that you were like, I think that I'm going to do this?
I started it, the last project I had overseas after I left the mining was to help mining companies. Because when I was there, I couldn't see any good reflective sheeting. I looked at it, I said, you got to be kidding me. This is what I've seen everywhere. You have a sign, it's clear. So I started auditing for mines to make their not works on safety, their areas brighter, safer. That's the last. I did a private project through a company, and then I brought in the machines. I brought in the film from 3M. I brought in a lot of different things. I executed it. It was amazing. Everybody loved it. And then when I came back, that was my last project. When I came back, okay, let's continue this one.
Sure.
So that's why I got stuck in this.
Okay.
Where
Stuck in this? Is that what you said? Or started? And
You sound like a business owner.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this crap.
No, I mean, it's in a good way. Like stuck
Totally.
in it, meaning in a good way, right?
yeah.
Yep.
What country was your last project in?
My last project was in Mauritania. So I did project between Mauritania and Senegal, West Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where you're from.
I'm
Yeah.
from
For our
Mauritania
listeners, yep.
originally, absolutely. Yeah.
And for our listeners that, maybe are a little rough on their geography, can you give them kind of a...
Mauritania borders, it's on the border of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
And then south you have Morocco or
Yep.
the Western Sahara,
Okay.
which is a disputed area. And then on the south, it borders Senegal, and you have Mali on the east and another part of it. So that's mostly right on the river, okay?
Okay.
Called the Senegal River, and also on the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
That's where the desert meets the Atlantic Ocean.
Cool.
I got it. I'm pretty sure I do. Like if I had a map in front of me, I could probably.
You'd have a 1 out of 4 shot at it.
So you moved here to go to university.
Yes, well, I moved here. I was in Washington, D.C. learning English, ESL as second language. And I met my my wife, which is Allison, you all met. And we have 4 beautiful children, some in college. The youngest one, Hawa, is getting ready to go to university, graduation in a few weeks. So we met in Washington, D.C., and she goes, "You're paying a lot of money in Washington, you're not getting good education. Go to Minnesota." I graduated from the university. They have very good programs where international students can come and pay in-state tuition. So that's how I ended up coming to Minnesota.
Is Allison from Minnesota originally?
Yes, she's from Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay.
She moved away a little bit, but always came back. She always boomerangs back to Minnesota. So that's how I ended up
the
in
boomerang.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot from guests, don't we?
It's kind of like a Midwest thing, I feel like. So that's good though. That's good though. She redirected you and allowed you an opportunity to get a better education, it sounds like.
At a very good, affordable,
Sure.
not paying arms and legs. Absolutely. She has done a tremendous job.
How's that going for you now with how many kids in college?
I have 2 in college, and I have one coming up, right? One in college, and the second one is going in a few months here.
Okay.
So she's graduating.
Did you try and talk him into the University of Minnesota?
I did, because I did actually.
Yeah.
Because for a simple fact, I don't want to be selfish, but I don't want them to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Or have to, because when I came to this country, I didn't know anybody. I had to reinvent myself. No, it wasn't easy, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So for them, you know Minnesota, you're born in Minnesota, you have friends here, stay in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But again...
That's a fool's errand to think that your kids aren't going to be like you.
I don't know. But for sure...
Scares the hell out of me. That's all I know.
No, they can be themselves. I just direct them, guide them. They choose. Yeah. We're here. Yeah. We're not far.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, hold on a second. Back me up on this one. So are you guys going to become empty nesters here after?
No, I have 2 youngest ones.
Okay.
I have a 14 years old and a 13.
Okay.
Yep.
So you got some time.
I got some time.
Not too much.
You have a little.
time,
You have a little gap between the tuition too. That'll be nice.
That's pretty much true.
Sell more signs.
A little bit of breathing room.
Or more highway projects. Then we're good.
I think you're safe there. That they're going to keep going.
So Bocar, obviously, this is a Rotary podcast, so we have to ask the question. For those of you who are listening right now, Bocar is in the same Rotary as we are, Rotary Club, and that's Edina Morningside in Edina. And let's share with our listeners how you found Rotary and started becoming, or how did you become a Rotarian is probably the better way for me to ask that question.
I mean, I think how it started, while I was a transportation commissioner for the city for about 6 years, every year people would come to me and say, "You should join Rotary." Okay, either the noon or the morning, you should join Rotary. You'd be a good fit. I didn't know a lot about Rotary. Yep. I did not. And it's actually a hidden gem within the city. So it kept coming every year, but I was developing the business. I couldn't focus on every detail until year 3 or 4. I said I've always been involved in the community in Edina. I always coached basketball, soccer. I've done a lot.
Yeah.
Why not? When I saw the light at the end of the tunnel of the business, I said, now I can focus more time here. So because I was transitioning back from overseas. So, and then I got approached by Carlin Jackson, others.
Okay.
Josh even asked me to come to their club. A lot of different individuals. And then before you know it, I said, I'm going to do it.
You joined.
Yeah.
And then when I joined, I saw the four-way test. I said, you got to be kidding me. This is it. This is how I wanted to leave. This is what I want to instill in my kids in everything that I do. So
Beautiful.
What year did you join?
So I joined, I think, almost 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I think. Yep.
Okay.
I think we were really close to each other. I
Yes.
think I joined just before, maybe, or
Just a few months before, so
Yeah.
you'll be 4 year, right? Or
I think I am 4 years in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So around the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of fast-tracked then to becoming incoming president.
Yeah. So let's remind our listeners what the track looks like to becoming a president, because you don't just well, sometimes you do just go from being a Rotarian to being a president,
heard
but
those stories.
more
I was gonna say.
more oftentimes than not, it's first secretary,
Secretary,
vice president, and then you become president.
yeah.
President-elect.
Vice President
President-elect.
or President-elect, then President, and then past President is
Yes.
almost a 4-year commitment.
Clear as mud out there for everybody listening.
Yeah.
All right, let's say it again. Secretary, president-elect, president, and then what's the
Past President.
past president?
Yeah.
There we go.
So when did you make the decision that you wanted to be getting involved in the leadership side of Rotary?
I think it's more of, for me, it's more of serving,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good way to put it.
It's more of serving, right? Giving more as a leader,
Yeah.
not necessarily the title. So I decided, because I was asked, just like when we when we were looking for a secretary, president-elect, president, I put up those PowerPoint out there saying everybody who would like to get involved. And the process was very difficult because nobody came and said, "Hey, I want to be this."
Yeah.
I said, maybe that's a Minnesota thing, right? But so, and then suggestions start. I would assume that's the same process that was used with me.
Yeah.
And
Probably.
Then people, start suggesting, because I waited 3 weeks. Nobody showed up.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And then I'm assuming that's the same process that we'll use with Bocar. And I got approached. I looked at it. I said, I'm going to think about it. And before you know it, I said, sure, why not?
Yeah.
All right?
You never looked back?
No, I never looked back.
Too late now.
It's a 4-year commitment. So, no,
Yeah.
I never looked back. And I'm very happy to do this, especially because we have an amazing club.
Yeah.
Everybody does what they say they will do.
Yeah.
It makes it just easy. You know, the president is not running. For me, I just like to serve. I'm serving.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
I thought you were going to say something. Brecken cut
As
this
you're coming
part out.
into being the president, what goes into the lead up and the planning, and is there a long process just kind of for yourself as you develop into it, or?
Yeah, I was told by Dave, I think, when this is the best training you can ever get. And I said, sure, I would love to experience that.
Yeah.
So there's a training that happens with the president-elect, with Sharon, which is our incoming.
Sharon Bloodworth. She was on the
Exactly.
show.
She's
Yep.
on our show.
Yep.
She's a bestie of mine.
She's phenomenal. So she puts out together these meetings for the president-elect. We do meet. And then after that, there's that training that happened that we had a few months ago.
Yeah, the pets
The
training.
pets
Yeah,
training.
the pets training. So you go to the pets training. Then after that, you also have the Singapore for us. Others go to different places, which is end of May.
Yep.
So you have a lot of training, and there's a process to that.
Yeah.
To get you where you need to be comfortable.
How are you feeling so far going into this upcoming year? I mean, because it's pretty fast approaching.
Yeah, it's actually today was Afira's last day as the chair of the board, right?
Yeah.
For the MRC.
Board meeting. Yeah.
Last board meeting. And yes, it is approaching, but I'm very excited. Like I said, we have an amazing team.
Yeah.
Everybody does what they do. And I'm really excited to serve.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
Well, and you got to kick it off really well with the Edina Rides. It was our first annual Edina Rides. We should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so talk a little bit about what the event was, and then, we could even go into how it was planned, how it was executed, because it was a huge undertaking, and, how did you feel like it went? There's like 27 questions there.
Let's start with how did this idea for Edina Rides come to fruition?
So Steve and Brad each approached me, right? We need to do something new in our club.
Yeah.
What is that? How about a bike ride? I said, perfect. I do a lot of Safe Ride School project. We do a lot of things related to improving biking systems. I said, sure, no problem, without knowing how heavy of a lift it is. But so it's heavy.
Yeah.
But again, it got alleviated by everybody else doing. We have different committees. So I think it was organized. I would like to hear what you say because you all were there. But I think it was organized very well.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of how hard the weather was, like they say, there's no bad weather, only bad closing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was a testament of everybody showing up, doing what they do. It was a year process, a lot of planning. Steve May has done a tremendous job. Chad, you have done an amazing job. Everybody that was involved, I think, Sophia, everybody done their job. It's a long process. It wasn't easy, but we came together. We pivoted a lot of times to make sure that event happened due to whether a vendor couldn't show up or something wouldn't happen. And I think at the end, looking at hindsight 2020, it was a very good event.
Yes, I agree.
The turnout was fantastic. We have a solid baseline of something new. So I was approached to do that, but I couldn't do it by myself. With the team, we pivoted, we got it done for something new. So that's how I got approached, and that's how this event went. What do you think?
Well, I think as an outsider, from not being super involved in it and then showing up on the day of the event, it was put on very well. I was actually shocked at how many people showed up given the weather.
Yeah.
I was really, really shocked at that. I'm like, oh.
So for our listeners, this event happened just this past Saturday, May 4th, in the morning. And it just so happened that, we had storms come through. And then the last half of the day was absolutely beautiful.
Sun came out.
But you know what?
Missed it by that much.
I know. But, despite all of that, and to Joe's point, I had asked him when he got back home, how did it go? And he goes,
Can I finish my thought?
Yes,
or are you
of
just
course.
Gonna...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I just jumped in all over it. It's okay. Welcome to our household.
I think for the two of you who know us, it's quite the opposite.
Anyway, what I was going to finish saying is, I think a lot of people would say a lot of things went against the event that would normally go for it. Yeah. And it was still very successful. So then you go, my goodness, if the weather's great, another year, think of the first year where you learn.
Yep.
I mean, we didn't have any idea who was going to show up, what was going to show up, how well was this going to be received, how was going to be the food, how was, all of that stuff. And it turned out fabulous.
Yeah.
Several of the vendors, your buddy came up, Chad, that was there. He was one of the vendors, and you could probably give him his name, but he was like, I think you're really onto something here.
Yeah.
I think you got something. I'm like, sweet.
After we got done, we went out and had a beer, and he said, I love the event. So he has a bike rental, electric trails for bikes and a boat for electric boats. And he said, there was such engagement from the people that were there to the vendors. The whole event, he was shocked on how much it was more than just going for a bike ride.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool aspect of it, where we had hip hop dance, we had jump ropers, we had the band out there, we had a DJ. There was just so much more that was going on than just everybody going for bike riding. That was it. And he said he really thought it was a great event from a vendor perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good to hear, because I mean that's my feeling, and I think also our sponsors were phenomenal.
Yeah.
We had Cargill, we had Cycle Hoops, we had Alta, we had Starbucks, we had, like you said, electric bikes, and
Dick's House of
Dick's
Sport.
House of Sport.
Yeah.
I mean,
We had
so many,
Yeah.
just to name a few. right?
Another observation that I thought too was that space worked out so well because you can see the event scale there. Like, like sometimes you throw an event and you're like, ooh, if we have 100 more people, it's going to be tough. But it really seemed like that could have supported at least 200 more people, 300 more people.
Easily.
Yeah.
Which we may have issues with because I think we missed it because we were a little further back. That park has a $75 million renovation coming sometime. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts
we might have
this
to
year.
find a new
Different
place or
location.
temporary, but I think that won't be an issue. You just got to find the right,
Absolutely.
is accessible and has the
Yeah.
If I'm not
adjacency.
mistaken, that's supposed to be mostly done this year.
Yeah, I'm not
Well, there
sure
you
of
go.
the plan, but again, it's all the content. What you put in the content is.
Yeah.
I, again, outsider perspective, I'm sure that what was nice is that now you have, to Joe's point also, you have a foundation and you have an understanding of like, okay, so we feel like we did a good job in asking around for sponsorship, but maybe we started a little bit sooner, or maybe we were spot on with what that timing looked like. And then when do we roll out the website? And then when do we, and all of the specific components that are, critical to make an
So
event
much
like
you
that
don't have to
come.
recreate.
Right.
100%.
Just create it
And
once.
you evolve because now you get the feedback, you get the experience with it. So I think it makes it easier to also evolve on top of not recreate.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's the baseline, right? And you take it. I'm all about in the spirit of continuous improvement. So yes, we have a baseline. We've done things very well, but there are also things I'm sure we can improve on.
Yeah,
I think that's what we'll do.
Yep.
Can you remind our listeners what the money that we raise from that event goes towards?
So this is the first Edina bike ride for education. So the way we put it together is to support education. And most of those organizations, nonprofit that you saw there, they already get fund from our local grants.
Yep.
Yep.
So some will go, if they raise money, they'll get a share of that money. And then the rest goes to our Rotary funds.
Yep.
We haven't figured out, there's a well-written process how the money is going to go, right?
Yep.
We know everybody's going to get back half of what they have put in,
Yep.
if not even more, right? Again, we just had our debriefing, but the rest, I think it just goes back to the same process.
Yeah.
with Rotary.
So we can continue to
Yep.
fund
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Yeah.
grants
And
and the nonprofits that we support.
exactly. And the beauty is now some of that money we can put aside for next year.
Yeah.
We don't have to go to to the Rotary Foundation and say, hey, we need money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get going. Yep.
So we already have a good baseline to start.
Wonderful.
So, we've debriefed on the event, what the event is about, how it went, the success of it. Let's talk about the future of Edina Rides. I know that you guys haven't had your debriefing yet,
We did a
but
little bit.
We did a little, yeah.
I'm sure that in having the event itself, there's a lot of conversing that's happening. So, what have you discussed in terms of what it'll look like moving forward?
So I think we started the debriefing, and I think we all know we have something solid in our hands, right? We have something solid we can improve on. So now it's a matter of figuring out what date next year we're going to do it. So it's not conflicting with the other event that we have or that we would like to do.
Sure.
It's just a matter of planning and figuring out the weather.
Yeah.
As best you can.
And yeah, exactly. And the marketing ahead of time. What do we improve?
Yep.
Okay, who else can we reach out to?
Yep.
Right. I think it's mostly that, and then repeat the same process.
Yeah.
I heard you guys were considering January 15th next year for the bike ride.
Get the fat tire bicycles.
No rain!
Just
This year it might have worked.
plow
No
through the
doubt.
snow. Yeah.
Could have.
So, Bocar,
50 degrees.
in a circumstance like this where, you were approached by past presidents
Yep.
to put on this event, and so it was your baby. But do you then continue to proceed forward with the planning for that in the future, or do you pass the torch on to somebody else?
I think in everything in life, I think are process oriented. Once it's mature, I think you should, before even mature, bring people in to take on that leadership, or at least learn that how to do it, follow it. They even may do it 10 times better.
Sure.
And then pass the torch. I'm totally strong believer in that. Right? We should. That's like, for me, that's how it's supposed to be.
I just wasn't sure if there was kind of like a rite of passage that happened in a circumstance like that, where like you're approached by the past president as the, incoming president to do this, and then it gets passed on to.
I'm sure you'll stay on to help however you can. And
For me, even if someone else takes over to do this, I will support them again. Service, I'll support them 100%.
When you're passionate about it. So
Exactly.
whether
I
you're
will-
the leader or you're going to be involved
absolutely.
with your passion. Well, and I think when you look at some of the people we've had on, that the events get so large.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they're kind of well oiled, where you bring new ideas, but think about some of the concert series or
Yeah.
just rinse and repeat it.
Yep.
in Prior Lake
Music
At the
festival.
lakefront.
Music Festival.
Lakefront.
I think, at least part of my goal, I think, is yours or all of ours, is that it continues to grow to a point where it's almost it's so large, it runs itself. 'Cause
It's
they
its
always-
own
It's
animal.
just,
though.
Yeah,
it's
anybody, you're not, somebody that's willing to put the time and effort and bring ideas can kind of take and run it, don't you think?
What
I do agree 100%.
What I'm connecting the dots on right now is, yesterday for Edina Public Schools, and I'm finding out that this is just kind of like it seems to be like a statewide thing, because there were other school districts participating in this, but it was like walk or bike to school day, and then for Edina, wear green. But you can totally play on that too, because of the time frame. If it ends up staying in that same time frame of spring, so it's
That's
so
a
wonderful.
very good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
You can just kind of make that, make the connection point and go. It's just kind of in addition to this. So
Oh, absolutely.
We had talked a little bit, and actually, Joe and I had talked. It was a bike event, but it was so much more. We talked, and not that we may or may not go in this direction, but do we expand on it? Walking, wellness, I think having that base in biking kind of brought things together in a different way.
Yeah.
But I think there's opportunities to, as you talk about, it was bike or walk to school.
Yeah.
I think there's ways, you got to find the right logistics set up
Yeah.
for that, because I think having a lot of bikes on the same trail as
Yeah.
a walking trail, that doesn't work. But I think there is opportunities to still keep it in the theme, but expand on it, because, like I said, the big takeaway I had, and I think we, yourself and Sophia really picked up on this, was to create an exciting event and atmosphere that the biking was a component of. And even though it was a bike ride, if you were there, it was not. It was so much more.
Yeah.
And so I think there's expansion on that. Would be my.
And that will allow us also to capture a much broader audience.
Yeah.
Right? Not just, I'm biking, I'm going to show up. How about I don't want to bike?
Yeah.
I agree with you around wellness, biking, active transportation, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's something amazing. And back to what you just said here, I think around that bike to school, I think could be something monumental. Because when if you look back, I don't know if it's recorded, my first meetings as a transportation commissioner for the city, that's what I wanted to see. I want to see every kid to be able to bike to school, every neighborhood kid.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you connect those nodes and modes or create them so they can bike?
Yeah.
I think this fits into that 100%.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And around wellness, it's very critical.
Yes.
And I think Steve has mentioned also in our briefing, how about we do something like that?
Yeah.
And I think I'm on board for it.
Yeah.
Those who want to bike, those who want to stay,
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
the activities.
I should add, it was bike, walk, or wheel to school.
All of them.
Wheel to, yeah, so all of it.
Yeah.
Capture the scooters.
Yeah.
Scooters, hovers.
Yeah.
What else?
Wheel or wheelchair or whatever. So, yep.
So we've got a little bit of time left. You know, as you've gotten involved with Rotary, you know, becoming president and done this ride, what has Rotary kind of meant for you personally and I guess professionally too, but as you've gotten involved?
I think it means a lot to me because it aligns exactly with the views I was brought up on,
Yeah.
like from my parents. So it's not, so it means a lot. It also means a sense of community. It also means a sense of trust. People trust you, right?
Yeah.
You know people for a long time. They know what you're capable of, or even not capable of. They can help you reach to that level
Yeah.
of capabilities and impact, and it just means so much.
Yeah.
I don't think word only can describe it, especially when you surround yourself with a
Yeah.
very good professional.
Yeah. I think we have a great club, and you know, we've talked a lot on the show where if you're not at a meeting, you miss it. You know,
Yeah.
because you get something out of it. You get the camaraderie, but you also have great speakers, and you know,
Your daycare doesn't start till 8.
Yeah.
you know, you mentioned it's a hidden gem in Edina.
Heard it from a friend.
It's a hidden gem. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely, it is, because it's absolutely a hidden gem.
it's hard. We're working on trying to get more members
Well, that's the
everywhere.
whole
but
point of this podcast is to express what it means not only to us here as the hosts, but then when we have guests on, we always like to ask their perspective, and it's important to share that vision from start to current, what that has looked like for each specific individual, and it has always looked different, and that's really amazing. So I want to ask this question, and that is, for individuals out there who are listening, Bocar, what advice would you give them if they're seeking service?
Join Rotary.
It really is like the drum beat, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because like sometimes I'm like, really? Is that really the? Yeah, it is actually. It is. I mean, because what's really fascinating is there's nothing that we seem to not be able to do, right? Like there isn't an avenue that we go down that we don't go down. You know what I mean? And then what an opportunity for somebody who has new ideas in coming into a Rotary Club and championing those, because a lot of times somebody's going to listen and kind of jump on board with it.
Absolutely. I don't think there's no small task or project for Rotary that Rotary cannot handle.
well, what a great example with the ride. You know, it was something that you guys created, and we've had Tom on. You can join in any project you want. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
I mean, this is an example of what we've talked about at length with him and other guests. We've always said, it's hard to understand how that can happen, right?
Right.
Even being a club member, and I have a better understanding having been a part and watched it. That's for sure.
What's that?
We're products of two of them. I mean, I remember when the Edina Rides was just an idea. Like, we literally were just like, yeah, we're thinking about a bike ride, and we're like, okay, like like how are we gonna go about that? Like, and then this show, I remember Lloyd coming to the stinking meeting and going, we would like to do a podcast, and it was like the same thing, like just uttered it out there, and it gets like,
Yeah.
well, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a few people quietly that get together and are like, all right, let's tackle this thing.
And then it turns into
something else.
But I think comes to, we talked about the four-way test, the shared values and mission.
Yeah.
I think makes it easier to come together on things because, you're based in something that connects on so many different levels.
Yeah. Joe, you're going to know this. You're going to figure this quote out. It's about, like, if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's all about,
if you
like,
want to go fast, go at it alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's something like that.
Together, yeah. And I thought of that when you were talking about how you were approached to do Edina Rides and you understood the task at hand and you went, I can't do this on my own. I need the village.
100%.
I need the rest of my Rotary Club to help support this. And it's no different just in any scope of individuals who are not Rotarians thinking about service. If you join Rotary, you're going to get that care, nurture, and attention from others to help support you on what your mission is.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and from working with Bocar on the ride, the leadership, and I think it probably comes from your running a business and having to lead so much, that leadership was there. And then you found the right people that were willing to put some time in that, as you said, would do what they said and were accountable. And that doesn't come without leadership. And I think that's a big reason it was successful and why I'm excited, for your presidency and also to continue with the ride. But it was very, I think, calculated on how you made the processes and how we did things. Our meetings were efficient. Well, I mean, we had an hour meeting every week, and we stayed on task so we could, because we're all same with this show. Don't have a lot of extra time.
Right.
You guys have children, all of you.
Yep.
We do the podcast. You're becoming president, so that made it, for me, being a part of it, a lot easier and also efficiency. That made it much more where I'll absolutely participate moving forward because without having a lot of extra time, you want your time to be used in an efficient way.
That's really good feedback. That was really kind feedback, Chad. Very kind.
Thank you. Again, thank you to everybody because everybody pulled their weight and what they said they wanted to do. It's not possible by just one person. You said the vision, mission was set already from above us, right? And the vision, and we execute. And we do a PDCA, right? Which is plan, do, check, act. Right? We improve it.
What is that again?
PDCA, plan, do, check, act. And then you continuous improvement. You do it again and again.
It's a system.
Those systems.
You're going to have to look
They
that up.
seem to do the trick. No, I got it. PDCA.
Bocar, thank you so much for joining us today.
It was an
great.
honor. It was nice to get some more insight into who you are and how you operate as well, and how that flowed into Edina Rides and your upcoming presidency. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, and thank you
See,
for having me.
this wasn't too bad, was it?
No, I mean, I love being around our club members, and you build friendship and get to know each other more. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was an honor. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Searching for Service. I'm your host, Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Up your game and show off your Rotary Club spirit. Did you know there's a one-stop shop for all things Rotary apparel? Russell Hampton Company is the world's largest provider of licensed Rotary branded merchandise. From apparel like hats, jackets, and shirts to banners, tents, and awards, they have it all. And most things are customizable. And they can handle orders of all sizes. Russell Hampton Company also has deep connections to Rotary. In 1920, the company founder was part of Rotary Club No. 1 in downtown Chicago. Russell Hampton Company models their business on the Rotary 4-way test and gives back 10% of all purchases to Rotary, supporting its global work. So the next time you and your club are out on a service project, arrive with the right swag from Russell Hampton Company to promote your club and Rotary. Even non-Rotarians will want some of your cool hats, shirts, and jackets. Learn more at bestclubsupplies.com. That's bestclubsupplies.com.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing right now was performed by the Rotary Club of Saskatoon, Natuna in Canada.
When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.